This is the Financially Simple Podcast, a show dedicated to destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner. And now, here's your host, pizza-loving, certified financial planner, Justin Goodbread.
Welcome to Financially Simple. This is a show of finance for small business owners about money, how it works in our business and personal lives, and how we can build wealth to be financially independent. I'm your host, Justin Goodbread. Today is episode number 3. Today's episode is titled Business Planning, a Recurring Foundation. Have you ever scratched your head and wondered why is it some people in business seem to just soar? Nothing holds them back, but yet others seem to struggle. You ever wonder that? It's like some people have the bull by the horns, yet others are getting ran over by the bull. I'm sure you've heard that adage. So we love to go to the rodeo. We have a little small community rodeo. It's actually at Roane State Community College. They have a rodeo there, and people come from all over East Tennessee to participate in this event. And we love to go sit in the rodeo. We take the kids, we get popcorn and Cokes, and they have all sorts of cool things like, the flag goes around. People are very patriotic. It's just good country folk coming together, riding horses. And ultimately, the main attraction usually is the bull riding. Now, I don't know if you've ever witnessed in real life the bull riding event at a rodeo, but it is something to behold. So let me kind of lay this picture out. You have these massive bulls. These things are some massive slabs of steak. I mean, all I can think about many times is what a T-bone, Many times they are 2,000, 3,000 pounds. I mean, these things are huge. The rodeo rider or the bull rider gets on the back of this beast. And we've seen it on TV. We've heard the songs about it. But when you're firsthand watching it, you can see the snot coming out of the bull's nose. I mean, you can see the anger in his eyes and how they motivate the bull to buck and to do everything else. Inevitably, you end up having some 160, 200-pound man get on the back of this beast that's easily 10 times his weight with the idea of riding him for 8 seconds. That's the idea. Let's just stay on this thing. And we all love it whenever someone rides the bull the full term. The sound goes off, the buzzers in the arena go really loud, the fans start cheering, the person who just completed the event jumps off the bull, holds his hat in the air. I mean, you want to walk out and give the guy a big fist bump. But how many times have we seen, and this is probably why many people love to watch it, how many times have we seen somebody fall off the bull? Or get drugged. I mean, like their hands are stuck underneath the lanyard they use to hold themselves on. They're stuck and they get drugged, or they get flung around like literally a rag doll by these massive pieces of muscle. Inevitably, though, sometimes they get stepped on. I mean, they wear these vests on them sometimes, these hard Kevlar or plastic vests to keep from getting crushed when the cows step on them. Sometimes they get goaded by these horns, and it's like, oh, and you just feel bad for it. And the clowns, the rodeo clowns, come rushing in. They're managing the bull to keep it from hurting somebody. Isn't that a lot like business? I mean, think about it. We have friends of ours as business owners we watch, and they are riding the bull like it's nothing. I mean, they could be the nastiest, grisliest bull they've ever seen, and they're just riding it, and they're having the time of their life. They get off, they get the belt buckle, they get the picture with the pretty girl, they get the big money, crowds are cheering them on. But yet the other side of that, you've got the other people who didn't reach that status. They got stepped on. I mean, they're down there walling around in bull crap, literally. Why is that? You ever thought about it? I'm going to submit to you that it's the foundation. Let me give you an example. I have a friend, a very good friend, but I'm going to call him Fred, just to protect him. And if you met Fred on the street, when you walk up to him, he is going to look like the biggest goofball. He's not going to be wearing the neatest and best clothing you've ever seen. You're going to look at him and say, man, this guy is clueless in life. And he's going to joke and he's going to carry on. But Fred's worth $8 million. $8 million. He has an unbelievable enterprise. Not just one business, but multiple businesses, which he's now, after about 20 years of his life investing in this, operate without his daily involvement in the business. Fred and I were sitting down one day talking, and we're great buddies. I mean, we goof off, we joke and laugh. And we were one day talking, and I said, so Fred, if you had to do it all over again, what would you do different? And that's a question I asked myself. I'm sure you've asked other people that. He said, if I had done it differently, I would have planned better. I said, oh, really? Talk to me about that. He said, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. And I had somebody tell me I should have done a business plan. I just laughed it off. And he goes, man, the first 6 years of my career was just nightmarish. But when I finally sat down and did a business plan, my life came together. As he went on to tell me, he also said, but it's not just that one-time event. Now, yearly, I do business planning, which is why I call the title of this particular episode The Recurring Foundation. So this is not a one and done. Once you develop a business plan, it's not like it's finished and you're never going to touch it ever again. You're going to deal with a business plan the rest of your life as a business owner. But it is the foundation. Just like any house, you have to have a solid foundation to build upon. So what is a business plan? I wrote a blog post about this some months ago, and it received all sorts of press, and it's rather lengthy, and I'm not going to dive off into all the different particulates for time's sake today, but I want to outline the basics of a business plan. The very first section is called the company description, and this is where whenever your readers open it up, they're going to see about your company. They're going to understand what your business is, what it does, who its customers are, how your products and services meet the needs of your customer. That's the company description in the business plan. That's number one. The second thing that's entailed in a business plan is what's called a market analysis. So a market analysis, it sounds big and sexy, but really it boils down to some very key things. Who are you trying to get your product or your service in front of? So we call it in the industry target market, or who's your ideal client persona? Who is the person you're trying to reach? And then how are you going to reach them? As simple as it can be. So you're going to look at price points, you're going to look at competitive analysis, you're going to look at barriers of entry, you'll deal with regulations. But as an overarching theme of the second point of a business plan is you're going to deal with the market. Who is this people and how are you going to get it to them? The third part of a business plan is what's called the organizational or the management structure. So this is almost, you would call it the model of the company. So a model is it a sole proprietorship? Is it one individual who is running the company? Maybe it's not one person. Maybe you have a partnership. Maybe you have a partnership that's structured as an LLC or an S corporation or a C corporation. Maybe it's a general partnership. Maybe instead of two partners, you have multiple partners. Maybe you have stock ownership versus just a partnership. Maybe you have a board of directors involved. Whenever you're dealing with the organization of the company, it's how can you position this company to best achieve the goals that you have for the company. And there are advantages and disadvantages for being a sole practitioner. There are advantages and disadvantages for having partnerships. There's advantages and disadvantages for partners who are like silent partners who may only provide you equity. So that's the partnership or the organizational information of the partner. Once you know how you want to run it, then you can deal with the organizational structure, whether or not it's going to be an LLC, a C Corp, an S Corp, a general partnership. You also may end up dealing with a board of directors in this. I have a business that I own 100% to myself, and I have a partner in one. And we have what we call a board of advisors. So they're really not paid directors, but they give us insight in how we can grow our company even better. Maybe that's what you have. Well, the business plan is going to outline this particular area. And it's important because it gives you time to think and ask lots of questions on how you can position your business. So that's the third point of a business plan. The fourth point of a business plan is what's called the products or service line. So in point number 2, we know who we're marketing to. So now what we're trying to do is if we know our ideal client, we're trying to now align their needs or their pain points with our product or service and how our product or how our service can best fit their needs. And so in the fourth area here, you're going to outline what your product or your service is, and you're going to describe it so that your prospective client can read it and easily understand it. Yes, this is what I want. This is the product or service I need to help fulfill my pain point. You're going to talk about the life cycle of that product. So, for example, I hold in my hand right now the brand new Samsung Note 8 phone. This life cycle in this phone is probably going to be obsolete in about 2 years, maybe 3 years, if not sooner, given the way technology moves today. So Samsung or Apple, if you're an Apple person, they have to currently be looking at the next generation of product and service because the life cycle, the life of this particular phone is probably only 2 or 3 years. Now, it should last longer than that, but it'll become technologically obsolete at that point. That is the product and service area of the business plan. The fifth area is how now that you know your product and service, and now you have your idealistic client, how are you going to market to get this product or service in front of your idealistic client. The fifth part is marketing and sales. And you're going to outlay with as much detail as possible how you're going to go about that. So I'll give you an example in my life. You're walking with me on this path of Financially Simple. So Financially Simple to me is a business that I want to get in front of individuals who feel like the financial world is overly complex. So in order for me to do that, I have a team, an awesome team behind me that understands our target market, and they're orchestrating and they're delivering a approach or a marketing strategy to get the message of money can be simple to you, the person who's ultimately listening to this. It didn't happen by accident if you're listening to my voice right now. This is a part of my marketing plan, part of my, quote, marketing and sales plan, is to get this information. So we currently use ebooks, we currently use books, we currently use a website, video, audio, we use social media, I do public speaking. The whole idea is to drive the simplicity of financial matters, make it simple for people to understand. So that doesn't happen by accident. Inside your business plan, you've got to outlay how your marketing or your sales ideas are going to get you in front of your ultimate customers. The sixth area of a business plan is funding. You know, it's been said, and we're going to talk a lot about this through this journey, about how money not utilized could cause you to fail in business. It could cause you to fail in your home life. So properly funding your business is key. The majority of businesses, especially startups, fall apart because of lack of funding. When you don't have funding, you can't deal with what we just spoke about. You can't deal with getting the marketing in front of people. When you don't have funding, you can't make strategic purchases. You can't hire those strategic people that you need to hire to propel your business to the next level. So in the business plan, the idea here is to outlay where you're going to get your money and how the money is going to flow in order to provide the services to your prospective clients. So some people here would use lending, for example. They'll create the business plan, they'll go to a bank and they'll pitch the bank, hey, I need X number of dollars so that I can create this service to this need. So if that's you, then you would be well served to really hone in on your client and their pain points and how your product can actually meet the needs of those individuals. If you're an individual that's listening to this and you say, you know, I don't need to borrow the money from the bank, I'm going to self-fund my business. I've done this personally. If I'm going to self-fund my business, then I need to make sure that here my funding request, that I have enough capital to get me through the tough times of business. And that's going to lead me into my seventh point in a business plan, and that is your financial projections. So some people call this a pro-forma. It's a document or Excel spreadsheet or some of the sort, a tabulation, if you will, that shows where your business is at today or where you think it's going to be today and the assumptive growth rate of your business over the next 3 to 5 years. We used to go out 10 years, but now with the way the markets have moved and technology's changed, if you can do a pro forma that lasts about 3 to 5 years and then have something to shoot for, you're going to be awesome. You're going to have something that you can aim. And that's the idea of the financial projections section here of the business plan. In this pro forma, one method of caution I would give you is this. If you're that business owner that's going to take this business plan to the bank in order to raise capital, you need to underestimate what your growth will be in the future. Second caution on that is this. If you're that individual who's doing your business plan with the hopes of selling your business in the near future, you want to underestimate your production. Well, why is that? Bankers, by characteristic, they're ultimately conservative in their person. And they're going to look at financials. And if you're assuming a 25% growth rate year after year after year in your business, they're not going to give the credence to that as someone who may show, for example, a 6 or 7% growth rate in their business. They've been around the block long enough to know that business owners are optimistic by nature. Us entrepreneurs, I mean, hey, we're the ones who will charge hell with a water pistol, right? That's who we are by nature. Bankers know that. But they also know when individuals are relying on their own intuitions or they're relying on hype or they're just guessing. So in your financial projections, if you're that individual who's got to raise capital, make your projections smaller than what you think they are. If you're assuming 20% growth rate, cut it in half. Yeah, you may hit 20. Yes, it's very possible you may hit 20. More than likely, though, you're not going to hit the optimistic number that you and I would think as entrepreneurs. We're just wired differently than the banks. So that could prevent you from actually getting lending if you didn't do your financial projections correctly.
You are listening to Financially Simple, destroying the complexities of money for today's small business owner.
Let's deal with part 2 of that. Let's say you're that individual who is now getting ready to sell your business. When a buyer comes in, they're going to ask you for your pro-forma. And they're going to look at this and they're going to say, okay, well, you're anticipating that you're going to have a 10 or 15% growth rate in your business. We're going to go ahead and make you an offer. And I've seen this happen many times, guys. It's a trick that the M&A world, mergers and acquisition world uses. They'll come in and they'll say, yeah, we'll give you an offer. We'll give you a full price offer. So let's make the assumption that you wanted $1 million for your business and you got everything you wanted. You got to have now a signed letter of intent. I'm going to overly simplify this because there's lots of little technicalities that transpire in this process. So this is an oversimplification. Those of you who deal with this day in, day out, you're going to say, Justin, you totally blew that out of the water. I understand. I'm fixing to super simplify this. If, in fact, you get a full price offer for your business, the purchaser of that is going to go into a period of time where they're going to seek due diligence. They're going to see if you can actually deliver on your assumptions. So let's assume that you had in your pro forma a 20% growth rate of your business. The person buying your business or the entity buying your business think that's awesome. They're waiting for you to see that. What happens if you only receive 10% growth rate in your business? You've now opened up Pandora's box. You've opened up Pandora's box in a way now that the buying entity or the buying party is going to come in and say, well, you told us you were going to get 20% growth rate on this business when in all actuality you only did 10. Are the rest of your numbers, are the rest of your sales pitch, is it doubly inflated for us? You see how this can go? The seller now has a nick they can get in and now start backing you off that dollar that you originally thought, yeah, I'm going to get $1 million for my business. At the end of the day, they may pull it back to where you feel like you're having to pay them to buy the business. That's a very good tactic that's used by those acquiring business. So if you're doing financial projections in your business plan for the purpose of gaining money or selling your business, you've got to be ultra conservative in your numbers. Now, if you're like me and where you have a business that's rolling and we're doing running projections, I want to be truly realistic to me. In fact, I want to put my projections a little bit higher than what I think we can achieve. That way I can motivate the rest of my team. That way I can incentivize compensation plans for my team to help us reach this goal. So it depends on where you're at with that financial projections as far as where you're at in the business life cycle. If you're starting out or if you're ending conservative. In the middle, if you're trying to incentivize, you want to be a little bit more aggressive in that. That's my opinion. After the financial projections section of the business plan, then we ultimately get into the appendix. And the appendix is going to provide all the graphs and charts and magazine articles and all the different things you're using to add credibility in those first 7 sections. So that's the appendix, and we know what these are. I'm not going to belabor that particular point. Number 9 is probably the most important section of the business plan, and this is the summary. Actually, the summary is often placed as the executive summary up front. It's usually placed in front of the company description. So the executive summary is there to get somebody, if you will, to bite on your business. If you're trying to build a business to go gain capital from like Shark Tank, if you will, it's on TV, then the executive summary is going to give you the highlights. It's going to give you the mission statement. It's going to give you all the company information real quick. It's going to give you the elevated view of the financial points on the numbers. It's going to give you your product and your services list. It's going to provide you a very, very compelling reason so that when someone reads that executive summary, now they want to look into the actual data points to see, is this legit? So why do we develop a business plan? Goes back to the bull, guys. If you want to be that person who can ride the bull, so to speak, not get thrown off, then you want to wade into this world of business with eyes wide open. You want to know exactly where you're going. A business plan is time consuming. It's frustrating. It takes research time. And that's why many people especially us entrepreneurs, me, you, the people who want to, like I said, grab the squirt gun and run full speed at hell trying to put it out. That's how we think. We're like, man, we have this awesome service. We have this awesome product and we know the people who want it. Let's go. Back up. Time out. You're going to be that guy who gets thrown off the bull and possibly stepped on. My challenge to you with today's podcast is to, no matter where you're at in your business world right now, whether you're starting, whether you're exiting, whether you're just like me in the middle of your career, take time to write out a business plan. Guys, I can't tell you the success I've had in my business. I can give you one in particular. One of my companies, Heritage Investors, a couple of years ago, me and my business partner and our employees sat down together, our team as we like to call us. We sat down together and we built a business plan. We identified clearly who we wanted to work with, clearly our products and services, our pricing points. We went through all these steps and we developed our business plan. We had a projection. Our projection was to gain about 25% market share per year. Because all of the ponies or all the horses, I'm using my rodeo analogy this entire time, so forgive me, everybody on the team combined and worked in that business plan, we were all pulling in unison in the same direction. Is it say that it's going to solve all the problems? No, it's not. You're still going to deal with business. You're still going to deal with the frustrating things about growth and contraction. It's all going to come about. But nonetheless, 2 years later, we doubled our revenue. We actually averaged 50% per year growth versus 25. We doubled our revenue. And it's not just me. I have clients all over the United States who we work in their business and we're growing their business so one day they can sell it. And the business plan is the fundamental number one step at the beginning of every year that we work on so we know what we're trying to achieve that year. So as I close this, let me give you one practical piece of advice that I use in my business. We just employed an awesome new employee here in the firm. Another new team member came in. I was sharing with him this particular strategy. And it's something that I learned years ago. And I don't remember where I even picked it up. But here's the way we operate our business. We set out in January or in December, either way, whatever the timing of the business is, and we lay out our 1 year goal, our 12-month goal. So it may be where in January we're saying that we want to achieve the following. We typically have a revenue goal. We typically have a new product goal, a new service goal, an improvement to product or service, a net revenue goal. We're looking at all these different goals, matrix that we want to accomplish during the year. And the whole team is buying in on this. We're a small business. We're under 500 employees. You want everybody pulling in the same direction. So in January, we build our 1 year goal. And then from that, we then break it up into 90-day sprints, as we call them. Every 90 days, we're trying to accomplish only one item. Not a many, but one key item. Now, that one key item can have multiple different smaller points in it. But we're trying to focus on one key item. And everybody in the office knows exactly their role to accomplish that one key item. Then we break it down for those 90 days and we have a monthly meeting. And that monthly meeting is to see what progress we had in the first 30, first 60, and then what we need to accomplish over the remaining 30 days in our 90-day sprint. So follow me. You have a 1 year goal. You break it down to a quarterly goal or a 90-day goal. Then you're breaking that down into a once a month meeting. Then we break it down even further into a once a week meeting to where every week we know what we have to do that week to accomplish our 30-day goal, which helps us accomplish our 90-day goal, which helps us accomplish our 1 year goal. So you can kind of see this reverse funnel effect, if you will. Then about once a week, we have a stand-up quick brief. And it's usually what problems are we having during the week that would prevent us from reaching our weekly goal. Because we know if we don't solve it in during the week, we're not going to reach our weekly goal, which means we're not going to reach our monthly goal, which means we're not going to reach, as you can tell, our 90-day goal, and then we're not going to hit our 1 year goal. But if we get every team member on our team pulling their weight toward that 1 year goal and we bring it down to weekly and daily accountability in our firm, we can accomplish it. And you may be saying, Justin, that sounds good and dandy and all that, but my goodness, you're operating a small business. I mean, you're under 10 employees. That's true. We have 300 employees. Okay, what's the problem? Well, it's just illogical. It's the logistics don't work. That's not true, actually. That's an excuse, and we can deal with excuses later on, but that's not true. You can use that in any style business. Jack Welch, arguably one of the greatest CEOs of all time, actually utilizes a very similar approach in his MBA program. Every business has to get the employees, the team members, to buy in on the goal of the business. And those who do, those CEOs, those small business owners, those entrepreneurs who do get complete buy-in from their employees are happier, they're more successful. Get this, so is the team. The overall team is happier. The overall team shares more revenue, which is what drives most of the business world. The overall team has more fulfillment in their actual job. So my challenge to you is, you may say, Justin, I've been in business now 20 years. That's great. I applaud you. Congratulations. I'm with you. I've been there that same amount of time. Stop and do a business plan. If it's this January coming up or whatever time of the year you hear this, do a business plan. Walk through these areas. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to the actual long form post of how to write a complete business plan and use it. There's lots of resources out there available. Hey guys, this is Justin Goodbread with Financially Simple. I'm trying to sign off here. I'm going to tell you the same thing I do every week. Let's continue to make our lives at least financially simple. Make it a great day.
You have been listening to the Financially Simple podcast. The information in this show is for informational purposes only. This show is not investment advice. Instead, seek help from a competent financial advisor. Justin Goodbread, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Heritage Investors, a registered investment advisor.